Hey guys, Jim Kahrs coming to you here on September 14th. And I'm giving you the date that I recorded this because it's important to the topic. I want to talk about taxes and federal tax deposits and state tax deposits. Everybody's favorite subject. I know it's not one that we like, but obviously as we come up here on September 15th, tomorrow is the date that estimated tax payments are due. And I've had conversations with a handful of our clients here in the past few days just in the planning stages of this, and I thought it was something that was worth putting a message together to send out and give you guys some food for thought. The first thing is that when you look at these estimated taxes, very often the estimates were determined early on in the year when your taxes were done for last year. However, sometimes the picture changes. As you go through the year, your profitability may be stronger or not as strong as it was the year before. Thankfully, for a bunch of the folks that I've talked to here in the past couple of days that we work with, their profit is up from where it had been. And that creates a situation where you need to consider what truly is the tax burden versus the estimated payment that you're making. Now, understand, not getting too crazy with the technicalities on it, when you do your estimates, there's really two considerations. Your estimate needs to be based on what is your tax burden expected to be at the end of the year, and then you make those estimated payments towards that. But there's also what's called a safe harbor, which is as long as you deposit estimates at 110% of your previous year's tax burden, then you can't face any penalties. And where this comes into play is I've had a number of clients that are making their deposits based on a safe harbor amount, but yet their profitability is up considerably. And they don't always realize that the deposits, yes, they're covered in that they won't face any penalties, but they're really under deposited as far as covering what the true tax burden is going to be. And potentially that means you've got money that's sitting in your operating account that's truly not going to be your money come the end of the year. So one of the suggestions that I would make is that look at truly what is your tax burden expected to be based on where your profitability is today. What is it that you've deposited in estimates or going to deposit through, tomorrow's deposit? And what's the difference there? And if the tax burden for the 9-month period here, or the 8.5-month period, or however you're going to calculate it, whether it's through the end of August or literally through September 15th, but for this period, if the tax burden is higher than what the deposits have been because of a safe harbor, my advice is take the difference out of your operating account and move it into a separate money market account or something like that. Put it aside, have it earmarked and ready for the taxes. And again, we all hate paying taxes and certainly going to do everything you can at the end of the year to reduce that tax burden. But the real problem I've seen folks run into that's bigger than the tax burden itself, because yes, the tax burden stinks. But the bigger problem is when you haven't planned for it properly and you get surprised by it. And you say, wait a minute, I've made my estimates throughout the year. How could I owe so much more money? And the answer is you might have been depositing based on a safe harbor number that avoids penalties, but not depositing or setting aside based on what the tax burden is. And actually, this Hubbard management system that we work with, one of the key tools and components are these set-aside accounts, where what we do here at Prosperity Plus, we're no different than you guys. I've been on the phone with my accountant here the past couple of days, and we've determined where is the profitability, what's the safe harbor level, and then what's the differential. And we've literally pulled money out and deposited into a separate set-aside account so that it's there and earmarked for the tax burden that we know is coming down the pike here at the end of the year. So just thought I would throw that advice out there. And then one other piece of related advice has to do with state taxes. And, when the tax laws were changed a few years back, one of the negatives that came out of that change was a change in the maximum amount of state and local taxes, or sometimes called SALT, state local taxes, how much of that could be deducted on your federal tax return, where that number got dramatically reduced. And if you're like me and you live, in a high tax state like New York, it's a significant hit to the deductibility of taxes that were previously deductible that aren't any longer. And what New York has done and a number of other states have done is they've actually changed the state laws to allow the state income tax to be paid by a pass-through corporation like an S corp, or LLC that could be organized as an S. But basically, if you pay your taxes for your corporation on your personal return as a pass-through entity, if you haven't looked into it, get with your accountant and look in to see if your state has this pass-through entity tax. Because what it does is it doesn't change how much you owe in state taxes. The tax amount becomes the same one way or the other. But by paying it through your corporation, it now becomes deductible where it was not deductible before. So something to just take a look at. Again, taxes are something that none of us like, but a reality that we all have to live with. So I figured I'd pass on a couple of tips while it's top of mind here with a bunch of questions that I've gotten. And if you have questions certainly on this, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation one-on-one. You can reach out and give me a ring. But in the meantime, let's have a great fourth quarter, finish off the year strong, and unfortunately create maybe some more tax burden because we're creating some significant profitability. Because at the end of the day, the only way to not pay taxes is to not make money, and that's a horrible solution. The best solution is make a lot of money, pay what you have to pay in taxes, manage it well to keep that burden down, but make money. That's the real winner. So again, thank you for listening. Look forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.